And we're live on Facebook with
Great.
Imtiaz Mohammed here, and we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic: retention done right. How do
So,
you drive customers? And sorry, Imtiaz, let me give you a quick intro
sure.
because I need to introduce you the right way. Imtiaz is a marketing and branding guru. He has 15 years of experience in advertising, financial services, technology driven marketing, e-commerce, analytics. He is a growth analytics and retention consultant. You can find him on LinkedIn and reach out to him if you need help. Currently, he is the CEO of Orange Fox, which is a marketing technology consulting company. And they help you develop strategy for your analytics tools, your marketing automation, how to find customer retention, measuring your performance, and more. He's previously been the head of digital products division for MCP RF Habib Investments and Savings. He served as head of marketing for Kaimu Asia, country manager for Pakistan at Effective Measures. He specializes in so many things. The list just goes on. It's all to do with your customer because that's where it is. Imtiaz, thank you for being here with us today. We can't wait to hear from you.
My pleasure, Numair. Thank you so much for having me. That was a very, very glowing introduction. Trust me, a lot of that may not be relevant because the world changes so fast these days. That, when you get into university and start doing your BBA, by the time you graduate, stuff is old, right? So a lot of
True.
stuff that we've done in the past may not be relevant today. Of course, we can bank on our experiences, but I mean, I think the world is changing so fast that it's important that everyone just stays in touch with their times.
Right.
And there's some certain fundamentals which don't change, but everything else, the execution of a lot of things changes. So I'm
Right.
super glad to be here. Thank you so much to NIC Islamabad for giving us the opportunity. And I hope that we can do this for a lot of the other NICs as well. I've already spoken to a couple of them.
Mhm.
And it looks like it's a very interesting topic because I think fundamentally it it's a space that your business hinges upon.
Mm.
Um, and for anyone who's expecting to learn from my PPT by just looking at the PPT, let me tell you this: you will not learn anything from my PPT. My
Mm.
PPT is just my talking points, and if
Mm.
you're not listening to this, then you're losing out. So
Right.
there's a culture of people, PPT bhijwa dein. So
Mm.
um, I hate making presentations. For me, these are my flashcards. That's it. This is my flashcard.
Right.
So this is pretty much it. So without taking much of a delay, my assumption at this point in time is that we're talking to some of the current and past incubatees at the NIC Islamabad. Is that correct?
Yeah, that and more.
That and more. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I've tried to keep this presentation not super technical, but it is moderately technical because my understanding is and my feeling is certain things require a bit of technical knowledge aside from the conceptual knowledge. And we feel that since we're dealing with tech companies, we're probably dealing with a lot of engineers as well. Engineers some way or the other, koi systems hoga, koi software hoga. So by virtue of that, deciphering and breaking a lot of these things down would be simpler for them. If I were talking to pure business grads, I would be taking a slightly different tone. But since we're talking about incubators for IT-led and IT-driven companies,
Yeah.
my assumption is that we're talking to engineers of sorts
Mm. Mm.
of multiple types, right? So that is the presumption I'm going with. If at any point of time, Nomer, you feel I need to tone a concept down and make it slightly not technical, feel free to let me know so
Perfect.
that I can make the adjustment right there.
Mhm.
Um, Question and answers we'll do at the end because it's important to not be impatient with this. A lot of questions will pop up. Please note them
Yeah.
down, but a lot of them will get answered along the way. Um, so
Right.
I'd encourage all the participants to use the Q&A tab if there is one, and then we can go over
Mm.
that. So without further delay, let me just
Perfect.
jump straight into it, right? I'm gonna try and yeah,
Drum
change
roll.
the
Dum, 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 dum,
change
dum,
the view.
dum. Right.
So yeah, so I run a company called Orange Fox. We're probably Pakistan's only Martech company, and it's an interesting journey and interesting opportunity. Um, and that's it. So Orange Fox was set up 2018. Mein. We've started working. We were profitable from day one, alhamdulillah. Maybe because we bootstrapped to the health.
Nice.
But yeah, things have been challenging because when we talk about a lot of this stuff, a lot of businesses don't understand these concepts. So we're just going to jump right in. And the objective of this session today is, if you understand this, then whether you're doing your startup or later on working for someone else, it's going to be very easy for you to logically stitch this together for any business, right? That's the idea. Um, So we're going to do a quick overview of what topics we're covering. What is customer retention, its impact on business, retention versus acquisition. It's a very strategic question that most businesses need to ask, especially if you're getting funding from somewhere. How do you measure? Then how do you launch and personalize? And the differences between B2B and B2C retention strategies. I will go into some use cases. We're not going to go into very detailed ones. Unfortunately, we don't have the time for that. But yeah, after that, we're going to do a quick Q&A. So the most important thing is to get your basics right. If you do not have your basics right, you will always be jumping to conclusions or jumping to answers. So मुझे याद नहीं किसने कहा था. I think Einstein or Newton or one of those guys, that if I'm faced with a problem, I spend 99% of my time, 95% of my time trying to understand the problem. So it's important to understand the problem, and then it's important to understand the underlying components of the problem, and then you come to conclusion. This is the art of reduction, right? This is how you solve for problems. Similarly, in this case, it is important to get your fundamentals and your theories right. The technology, the tools, everything else is something added on to it. So इसका बड़ा लेम एग्जांपल है. अगर आपने खाना खाना है तो आपने खाना खाना है. आपने तेपनियाकी खाना है या आपने सुशी खाना है या आपने भज्जे के पाए खाने हैं, वो सेकेंडरी बात है. जब बंदे को भूख लगती है तो उसे खाना खाना होता है, right? So it's important to separate the needs from the wants. If your basics are right, everything else is the icing on the cake. तो कभी आप चॉकलेट लगा लेंगे, कभी आप नहीं लगाएंगे, but the point is, if you have the basics right, you can do a lot of stuff without tools even. So in a very blunt format, retention comprises of practices and processes used to drive actions from existing users or customers. Retention तो उसी वक्त होगी ना if someone exists. If they don't exist, then how do you retain, right? So you can't retain. I am.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
also
sorry.
probably more affordable. Why would you want to go and keep finding a new customer instead of
So I'll
nurturing the
come to that.
customer you already have?
I'll come to that in a moment.
No problem.
There's a small crisis that I need to, like I said, I'm just dealing with because of someone screwed up in the morning. So I'm just gonna. This will hopefully be the last. If I
Bleep.
get another phone call, it would be the last one. So
Right.
hopefully we'll be sorted. So yeah, so you have to drive actions from existing users or customers. Now the action doesn't necessarily have to be a purchase. It could be anything. And if it's anything else, then you would club that into engagement. But if it's a purchase, then you treat that as retention. But more interestingly, let's say if you're not an e-commerce business, if you're a gaming company and you don't sell anything, then playing the game is a retention action, right? If you're a media company, then Netflix telling you that your favorite show has just uploaded new episodes, please come and watch it, it's a retention action. So
I'm retained.
you have to be very fluid around these concepts. And that is essentially the structure of how it's going to play out. How do you go next here? Yeah, okay. So why retention, right? It's because of there's a few fundamental reasons. I don't know how many people are familiar with the leaky bucket concept. But the leaky bucket concept is that when you spend money, or even when you don't spend money, or let's say आपको SEO से order आते हैं, right? Your search engine optimization is amazing. You're getting a ton of orders from your organic search results. Um, Someone makes a purchase, someone performs the required action for conversion. But let's say out of 100 people, how many stay there? So, and the same applies to paid media as well. So when you spend money on digital advertising, you end up getting customers who will come, who will go through your process, who will even convert, but then they will disappear. The game here is to control the rate of bucket leakage so that when you as a investor funded company go to raise money, um, you don't perpetually burn money on acquiring customers. You have a stable base of retained customers as well, so that even in the event of turning down your advertising, you're able to drive certain amount of revenue organically. So one fundamental concept that we must look at here from this point on immediately is to understand what percentage and what group of our customers are paid customers and which are free customers. To me, and this is an internal delineation you need to do. If you pay to acquire that customer, they're a paid customer, right? And naturally, consequently, they will have different impacts, and we will come to those impacts later on in your business planning and projection. Every time you pay for an ad and you acquire an order, you typically calculate a cost per order. Most businesses in Pakistan operate on the CPO model. This presentation will take you through a completely different model, which I think is a more practical, longer-term solution problem, right? Approach. But the idea is to fundamentally understand that every business is a leaky bucket, and you will end up losing customers. You always end up losing customers. The faster you acquire, the faster you lose. So it's like this way. You have a tank with certain holes. You start pumping water in. As the water reaches above a certain level, नीचे क्या होता है? Pressure बढ़ता है. तो the drainage or outflow का जो speed है वो बढ़ जाती है, right? So on the baseline, when you're, let's say, a few inches up, your leakage is slow because you have a certain degree of pressure. But when you keep adding water, the pressure increases, and therefore the outflow also increases. So you have to calculate, just like you have to calculate for this in your tank, fluid mechanics, you have to calculate for this even in your business. We're not getting into the exact calculations, but theoretically, if you guys have a great command over Excel, you can do this calculation. I'm fairly confident about it. Reason number two, it's difficult to find new customers. So you go to Facebook, you go to आजकल Snapchat पे advertising चल रही है. You go to Facebook, you go to Instagram, you go to universities, colleges, run campaigns, do events, all that stuff. You do partnerships and deals with restaurants and companies कि जी आपके customers को हम ये दे देंगे, वो दे देंगे. But that entire process is what? It's a process of trying to find new customers who meet your business values and business purpose, right? Keeping old customers is very simple. Because they're your customer, you have their name, email address, phone number, and most often their address as well, right? So from that point on, any communication you can do is essentially maybe less than 3 clicks. Sending an email is less than 3 clicks now, right? So, and that itself is is a component of customer retention. We'll get into the technicalities of that in a bit. Acquisition cost via paid campaign is a variable cost with declining efficiency. And the more you spend on paid media, the poorer your returns get at a certain point of time. So ऐसा नहीं है कि आज अगर आपने 1,000 rupees spent on a Facebook campaign and you got, let's say, 10 responses. If you decide you want 100 responses today, so multiplying the number by 10 won't help you. This is the inverse of economies of scale, where because you are at a certain volume, things become cheaper. In advertising, especially digital advertising, you have to understand the law of diminishing returns. So शायद 1000 और 10,000 रुपए पे इतना impact नहीं आता, but when you look at it from a scale perspective, what happens if I spend $1,000 a day versus spending $2,000 a day? Is the growth linear? No, it isn't. It tapers downward slightly. Efficiency decrease हो जाती है, for multitude of reasons. And this was an interesting conversation I had with someone last week. They were operating in the Middle East, and they kept seeing that all of their ads stopped performing well after X number of days. And the point was simple. Their targeting was so tight and niche that the addressable universe ran out. So you have to understand, depending on the market, your addressable universe also runs out. अगर आप मैंने कोई रेस्टोरेंट है, मैं इस्लामाबाद में चला रहा हूँ, तो इस्लामाबाद की पॉपुलेशन के हिसाब से only X number of people will be able to eat there. Correct? So even if at 100% market share, I will not be able to grow beyond a certain point because population इतनी है. And this is a problem between, if I compare this problem, why is China manufacturing so cheaper and why is India manufacturing so cheaper? Because even if they manufacture for the local markets, the scale they need is so much more. कि scale एक अलग game हो जाती है. And Pakistan में challenge आता है because even if, unless we do it for purely export purposes and we're selling to huge economies, then our local production will be smaller because population ही कितनी है, right? You have to factor that in. Achha, these are certain quotes that I have found, and there's tons of researchers to back these numbers up. There's one जिसके ऊपर मुझे doubt है. I'll come to that in a bit because Pakistan के numbers नहीं है मेरे पास. So increasing reach purchase rate by 5% increases profitability on those customers by 65 to 125%. It's very easy to say this, but Pakistan में we haven't done a gross profit study on any of our e-commerce brands because A, it's not consistent, right? B, Pakistan mein how many companies have a measured repurchase rate? They don't. So we can't measure this, but these are US numbers and fairly recently एक और survey में आया है. Another reason, it's always easier to sell to someone who has done business with you in the past. अगर आपकी मेरे से relationship है, आप मुझसे मिल चुके हैं, if you're comfortable with me, then for you to talk to me again is much simpler, right, versus going and introducing yourself to someone new. It's a very interesting point. So then what should you do? Because retention is so amazing. Should you stop advertising completely? No, you shouldn't. Because you need to acquire customers. Acquire honge to retain honge, right? You can go in circles around the retention, but keep in mind, even retention is a leaky bucket. It's just not as leaky as acquisition. So the rate of churn in retention is lower compared to the rate of churn in paid media campaigns. So ये fundamentally important to understand karna. Also, another crucial concept to understand is depends on the growth trajectory you have in mind. You will have to spend and you will have to be comfortable with the leak. If you're not comfortable with the leak in your buckets, then you may be the wrong business, because every business is a leaky bucket. You cannot expect to say कि जी मैं 100% retain कर लूँगा. But even if you retain it, even if you acquired, let's say 30%, right, a month on month, versus someone who acquires at 5% growth month on month, someone who has a retention rate even half of yours may actually do better in terms of net overall repurchase rate. It's a pure mathematics game. Excel में हम बना लेंगे उसको, मॉडल बन के नजर आ जाता है, इसमें कोई वो नहीं है. So leaky buckets हमने cover कर लिया. So this is a typical e-commerce model, right? There's a home page, there's a view category, view product, add to basket, and there's checkout. 100% of your sessions happen here. 15 to 20% sessions happen here. 5% of sessions go to checkout. 2% sessions convert. This is one image of a leak. The other is what happens after the purchase takes place. Does the customer come back? That is the other leak, right? So there's a lot of places that we need to work, and what we're aiming for is to re-invert that triangle and build another inverted funnel at the bottom, which is a containment of the leak that has happened. Is a containment, not the containment. It's important to understand that. So the first thing you need to do is measure. If your Google Analytics tells you, and it's very easy to see this in Google Analytics, right? Um, repeat versus new buyers in your e-commerce conversion rate. You can easily say, oh, 60% of orders came from repeat visitors, 70% of orders came from repeat visitors. It tells you nothing. This tells you nothing about the kind of behavior these people have exhibited in the past. This metric tells you nothing about the amount, the value of the orders they've given. It tells you nothing about the kind of customers they are, how old they are, how much they've been retained. It's a very vanity metric. It's like Facebook likes, vanity metric, but it's still a starting point, right? So here are the metrics. Before you go into metrics, you have to look at cohorts. Cohorts essentially are groupings. The next metric we're going to look at is the repurchase rate. Then we look at CAC, which is the customer acquisition cost. LTV, which is a lifetime value. Lifetime doesn't necessarily mean lifetime value. It could mean value over a certain period of time. And a payback period. And we're going to come to payback period in a moment. Cohorts are groups of customers based on first acquisition. So you could either have a time-bound cohort, or you could have a medium-bound cohort. And when I say a medium-bound cohort, would mean customers acquired via a certain Facebook campaign. It's entirely possible to track that, right? So Numair मेरे पास इस campaign से आए थे और फसी मेरे पास उस campaign से आए थे. There will be two different cohorts. But if I do a time-based cohorts, even if they came in the same month, then they're the same time-based cohort. It's up to you to decide how you want to build your cohorts. But depending on the business vertical you are in, cohorts can be 30, 60, 90, 180, 360 days. उसका एक simple example है. If you're a fashion brand, your cohorts would be 30, 60, 90, most of them, right? But if you are a travel company, then your cohorts might be 180, 60, 360, or even 720, because travel is more intensive. If I'm a cell phone brand, if I sell cell phones, then my cohort will definitely be in the 360 day range, because there's no way मैं साल में 2 से ज़्यादा phone खरीदूंगा, शायद मैं covers खरीदूंगा, but your value of my purchase है, my average order value will plummet with my second order. So
let me get this straight. Cohorts are groupings of people who come in based on a certain campaign or a certain gateway, maybe a certain landing page on your website, something you did, and then you group them and then you monitor them.
No, or you can even create them by time boundaries. So let's say you have multiple campaigns running and you decide not to do a campaign cohort, you decide to do a time bound cohort. Okay, इस month मेरे marketing पे मैंने X amount spend किया था और next month मैंने Y amount spend किया था. मेरा acquisition cost यहाँ पे ये था, वहाँ पे वो था. Why that matters is because even if I change my target price, the quality of the customers might change. So it's important to also understand its impact on customer quality. So I could either do it that way, which is campaign based, or my channel based, or a city based cohort, or I could do a time bound cohort. Most businesses in e-commerce look at a time bound cohort because उनका view ये होता है कि भाई जब customer आ चुका है तो किस campaign से आया वो typically एक ही जैसी होती हैं. But if you're in the experimental stages, you can of course do cohorts based on the kind of campaigns you did, the price that you strike, your strike price क्या थी ad की, your creatives क्या थे, your agency कौन सी थी, right? Because
target
agency
audience.
Exactly. So if you are not doing this yourself, then even your agency efficiency will determine the kind of cohorts you have. So it is, as a business, it is up to you to understand कि जी आपने कैसे cohort बनाना. Conceptually, you need to monitor the cohort. It's very easy to build a repurchase rate cohort. Okay, not very easy. It's slightly complicated, but it's doable. It's very doable within Excel. And उसको कैसे build करना है? बड़ा आसान तरीका है. गूगल करें हाउ टू बिल्ड माई रिटेंशन कोहॉर्ट, सिंपल. एक स्टेप बाय स्टेप शीट आ जाएगी. आई एम हैप्पी टू शेयर links for those with you, Numair, so that you
Yeah,
can send them to the groups as well.
we'll even post them on the YouTube video.
Yeah. So it's very easy to do it. All you need is your order history. So, and a unique identifier per customer. Typically, a unique identifier would be email address, phone number, or some other internal number you have. And their first purchase date and their subsequent purchase dates, right? आप उस शीट को सॉर्ट करेंगे, आप उसको बिल्ड करेंगे और वहीं से कोहॉर्ट्स बन जाएंगे उसके. Lifetime value of the customer. So it could be across customer age, but then that could mask new customer. That could hide new customers unfairly. So you could have LTV based on, let's say, total revenue from certain batch of customers in the last 360 days, over the last 720 days. Otherwise, अगर मैं pure LTV model पे आऊँगा, तो a 3-year-old customer will naturally have more revenue tagged to them. But that doesn't mean necessarily they're a good customer. What if the customers acquired in the past 3 months are better because they repurchase more often? So it's important to look at LTV not only holistically but also across cohorts, because once you project your future LTV for the next cohorts, then you work in that direction. CAC is the total marketing spend divided by total users acquired by paid marketing. ये बहुत important है to separate these, because if you don't separate them by paid marketing, then your CAC is diluted. It's called the blended CAC. This is not pure CAC. ये pure CAC है. If you're going to look at blended CAC, तो blended CAC reporting के लिए ठीक है, but it can be very volatile. Your pure CAC is more clearer, crisper. And payback period, which is the annual revenue per customer. And the reason this is important is simple. If you are funded, right? So, and you're acquiring customers at the rate of, let's say, 30% customer acquisition month on month हो रही है. तो जो 30% आप acquire कर रहे हैं, ये कितने अरसे बाद profitable हो जाएंगे आपके लिए, right? Because otherwise तो आप acquire करते रहेंगे, but after a certain period of time, when their gross margin percentage kicks in, what is the amount of time where they become profitable? And based on this, you will plan for your retention cycle. So मैंने customer acquire किया, आज 10,000 customer acquire किया, next month 10,000 customer acquire किया, उसके अगले महीने 10,000 customer acquire किया. लेकिन अगर मैं gross margin percentage इतना छोटा है और इनकी repurchase rate इतनी कम है, तो हो सकता है 6 महीने तक I am not even profitable on a customer basis. So it's important to treat customer base level profit payback versus business profitability in two different views. This can be a very interesting metric to show if you are doing this well, and if you're projecting into your slide deck and your presentations, this is your metric that you need to work with. Okay, मैंने ये customer acquire कर लिए, so your metric should not be कि जी I want to have a 30% repurchase rate. Sure, that's also a good metric to have. But what you want to say is, my payback period per customer is under 3 months, right? So that's a very different selling proposition. So these are the metrics. And now what do? You slice and you dice and you communicate. It's important to be able to slice and dice and communicate. And if you want to start doing this, you can pick a channel, any channel. It's super simple, super easy, and email is a great way to start. Why? Because email is personal. The more elegant you make the email, the better it is. The more personalization you throw in, the better it is. I've put together some very basic campaign in one-liners. We're going to go through some of their visual examples also in a moment. But these are one-liners essentially, right? So how many businesses in Pakistan that you buy from, वो कर लें, all your major e-commerce brands in Pakistan, how many of them have sent you an actual welcome email? They send you your order confirmation email. How many send you a welcome email? Welcome to our family. They don't. Even the order email does not have your name mentioned. Hi Numair, hi Imtiaz, hi Arif, hi Aslam, hi Sana, whatever. वो नहीं होता. क्यों नहीं होता? It makes you feel more personal, right? It makes you feel cared for. Subconsciously, on a very lower level point, it's very easy to tell people that you care for them. You just have to show it. When people make their first order, it's important to make a first order feedback. How was your first experience with us? You can automate these, or you can send them manually. You can sit and decide कि जी मैं आज रात को बैठ के आज वाले जितने customers हैं ना उनको आज रात को एक email जाएगी. After delivery confirmation जब हो जाएगी, let's say मेरे पे delivery confirmation आ गई आज, and tomorrow morning I'm the CEO of the company. I'm gonna mail merge an email and send it to these guys. Mail merge में कितने 15 मिनट लगते हैं ना. एक टेम्पलेट बना हुआ है, मेल मर्ज कर दिया, नाम सेंड कर दिया email. That's an easy way to start. But make it personal. Get feedback. A lot of businesses in Pakistan don't ask for feedback. How did we resolve your problem? Whether it's someone making a call or whether it's someone who sends you an email, tell us how we did for you. Send an email newsletter. The more personal, the better. And how can you make it personal? You're a fashion store. You sell men's and women's clothes, right? I'm a guy, but I am receiving emails about women's clothes. That's not personal. I looked for jackets last time. Why are you selling me shorts this time? The fact that I'm looking at jackets and I didn't even browse shorts should tell you what my interests are. So, oh, you bought a blue jacket last time, here, check out some shorts. It's a very jarring experience. But if you say that here's some great blazers for your next business meeting, now it's personal, right? Similarly, for women, if you're gonna out there someone's buying bhare hue kapde and you're selling them sada lawn, or you're doing the opposite, or you can tell that someone's asked for a certain product to be someone who's actually ordered workwear. So work formal, women's work formal versus women casual versus women's event formal are three different categories. So for someone who buys work formal, if you tell them work formal, send them a work formal next time in the email, and you say, "Here's this for your next campaign or your next meeting or whatever." Right? Look great at work today, right? That in itself it shocks the customers in a pleasant way. Try not to be weird about it, but it's all about elegant copywriting. Try creating just for you campaigns. Bada simple kaam hai yaar. It's very easy to do just for you campaigns. You have your customer order history. You know what size of clothes they buy or what colors they buy. And this is more, I keep saying this because it's very easy to play with experiences and examples in fashion because there's so many variables to play with, right? दूसरों में शायद इतने variables नहीं होते हैं. But if you send someone a just for you campaign or someone who's bought small from you in the last 3 months multiple times, then send them an email saying, hey, these are great deals in your size. Very specific. Remove the pain of them going at a size and then finding a small available nahi hai. Remove the pain of that. It's just so simple. You will say that conversion is automatically per jayegi. Acha, one more interesting thing. Using the name in a subject line actually increases open rates by anywhere between 20 to 30%, depending on how elegantly you do it. For email list subscribers that haven't purchased, can you send them a promo code? Discount vouchers are not always a great idea, right? So how are the referral plans coming along? Do you have one? Do you have a loyalty plan? Break your customer into LTV cohorts and number of days since their last purchase and last visit. Why? Because if they're not visiting at all, then they're probably churned. But if they're visiting and just browsing but not buying, then there's another friction point that you need to solve for. These are two different problems. You need to figure out what's missing there. क्या उनको assortment पसंद नहीं आ रही? क्या उनको prices पसंद नहीं आ रही? Are they bargain hunters? What happens? Are they not finding their sizes? So it's important to explore that. And a lot of this can be changed, can be figured out even in the UX based experiments. But a lot of this is very easy to see in by giving, sometimes just giving X number of customers a call. Okay, आपने इतने दिन से purchase नहीं की, or just send them a nice email saying, hey, you know, we know you've been looking. Are you having trouble finding what you like? Let us help you. Tell us what you're looking for. So yeah. So it's important to start track, and from that point on, once you're sending these communications, right, it's important to start tracking performance in your analytics, assuming your analytics implementation is correct. Most of the e-commerce stores I've worked in Pakistan have incorrect Google Analytics implementations. Most of them. So yeah, it's important to make sure that those are correct. Even if it's not correct, you will still be able to track certain things, but the quality of the output will be based on the quality of your integration. Garbage in, garbage out, standard computing term. Monitor the size and change of your cohorts very deeply. In some cases, if you have a customer broken down by 30, 60, 90, 180 day cohorts, and you look at the totals across the columns, you might see that the total exceeds 100, and that's fine, because that tells you you're doing great. It means that the customer has bought at multiple cohorts. But if, let's say, your total purchases, your 30-day cohorts, your 60, 90, 180, 360-day cohorts के अंदर, let's say Jan 2020 customer है, and the total percentage of all those columns is below 100, means that this customer has not purchased across multiple time periods. Hence, there's a problem somewhere. You can find out where the problem is, but you can monitor the growth of these cohorts on a step-by-step basis. Once you're done with the basics, right, your email, your SMS, then you can start talking about a multi-channel strategy. A multi-channel strategy could use all of these channels, and it could use all of them at once or separately. The ideal way to go is to have a tool that does all of these for you in one window. Why? Because if you send a customer an SMS and they've responded to that, and you send them an email about the same campaign, I don't know about you, but I would get irritated. So that's important to understand. Okay, if the customer has already taken a certain action, why are you sending them something separate? And very interesting use case iska batata hu. My ISP sends me an invoice, and I pay the ISP. I get a payment confirmation email, and despite that, I get an SMS often saying, payment is due. If you've paid, disregard this invoice, disregard this message. I think that's the worst thing you can do to a customer, because the last thing you want is to tell them we've received the payment and then also tell them we're not sure if we receive your payment. And if you're working in the digital age and your ISP is an idiot, they might just disconnect you, right? So it's important to be very sure that they know that they've received the payment and they tell you you've received the payment, and at least stop sending that email then. I don't stop sending that SMS then. It's important to then automate. At a certain scale, automation would become very important. So this is a very interesting, a very detailed breakdown of someone who hasn't visited your website in the last X number of days. So you want to bring people back who have not logged in, start a session in X number of days. You don't give them an incentive. You just group similar people, and then you create a simple communication and you wait. Or you do it multi-tiered over multiple days and wait, possibly ending with an incentive. But I believe that incentives देना जो है ना customer बिगाड़ने वाली बात होती है. To some extent चलता है. But if you're going to give them an incentive for their first purchase, that could sometimes be setting the wrong expectations, especially from trying to get high value customers. It's simple. You tell customers you miss them and they'll feel better about it and they'll come over. How many of you have seen Kareem's messages that Kareem sends, you know, oh, we haven't taken the ride in X number of days. These are automated communications, and these are it's possible that I might get it and you might not get it. We might be sitting next to each other. So they're grouped based on cohorts, they're grouped based on customer segments, and then they're sent out on an automated basis. No purchase in last number of X days, but there have been multiple visits. So these are on the fringe customers. What do you do with them? You do a separate approach with them, slightly different communication. You do a slightly different change in your process for your cyclical communications. And the moment that your target intent has been reached, let's say your flow had 5 emails. Let's say second email पे उसने visit कर लिया and purchase कर ली. The third email shouldn't take place. The trigger should be there to stop it. So that's where your automation needs are important. What if someone hasn't opened the app in the last X number of days? Then what? Have they uninstalled the app? Have they stopped using that phone? Have they given the phone to someone else? Is the phone lost? So it's important to understand why they're not opening the app, what's happened in their behavior. So again, these are just examples, right? They're not set in stone. These are some emails that Uber sends out. Don't forget to lock in 28 days of low fares with a ride pass. So what they did was they gave certain customers who were on the fringe or not using it, they gave them a lower fare and they give them a ride pass. So they said pay $15 and you get flat fares across X number of days. That's an incentive to bring people back. Starbucks ka happy hour. This is a very targeted campaign and it's only valid on a certain beverage on certain days on certain time, and it only went to certain people. Right? The idea is simple. आपने जिससे बात करनी ना सिर्फ उसी से बात करें. Don't spray and pray. That's the whole beauty of retention emails, retention communications. TV पे इश्तहार क्या होता है? Spray and pray होता है. You may not be relevant audience, but you may get it. Right. The beauty of this is that we see everything and we're able to track everything, and email is one of the cheapest mediums on the planet. Just to give you an idea, all those who are using MailChimp, you guys are bleeding through your noses. Amazon SES costs about $30 to $40 for about 300,000 emails. A lot of my clients use Amazon SES because we do a lot of, we build that in. The construction of the email is simpler. So if you have an email that can build, you have a system that can build the email and fire it off to Amazon over the API, use that. More personalized. So EasyJet example, right? So first of all, the example says, hi, Alex. And then it says the first flight we took was from Faro. Then it says you went 96,000 kilometers. It went to a great extent of detail to tell you about your relationship with EasyJet, right? And this can be great for a brand that's a service brand ideally, or even a product sales brand. But yeah, so abhi upar likha hua hai how 20 years have flown. If I were a 10-year-old customer, the email would actually have said how 10 years have flown. That's how personalized it is. A6, very simple. It's showing you a certain shoe. It's showing you a model that's dressed in the same way as the shoe. Agar wo shoe different hota, the model ki shakal bhi different hoti. Why? Because they want to build a relationship and want to make it so personal. So are you still thinking about it? If you can't decide, check out some of the best sellers below. And यहाँ पे इसी के अंदर proceed to checkout का button है. Why? Hit the nail on the head. वहीं पे. First purchase sign up, promo, creative ideas. So the first email is very interesting on the left, right? You just ask upfront, आपको men's deals चाहिए, women's deals चाहिए, ताकि आप चीज emails ही आपको वो भेजें. Why? Because I can only send X number of emails to a customer in a certain day. If I can send them better, then why not? Always first. Acha, ये very interesting है. Always first पे लिखा हुआ है, be the first to find out new styles, exclusive, get 20% off your first purchase. It's very easy to do this, but just be very careful. Don't give a perpetual 20% off. Give the 20% off with a time boundary, saying only valid for let's say the next 3 days, or only valid for 48 hours on orders above X many rupees. right? So that way you've already made them cross a hurdle. So you know they're not freeloaders. They're not going to buy a 500 रुपए की item and claim a 20% discount. You can say, हाँ, अगर आप 20% discount मिल जाएगा, if you buy within the next 3 days and 5,000 रुपए के order पे, right? So that your profitability also, because the smaller your product is, the lower your profitability margin on it might be. फिर shipping cost, फिर operating cost, तो आपको कुछ तो पैसे निकालने ना, so वो important है.
But another learning here for me was to get the right data from your customer. So the male or female, what's important to you? Do you ride a motorbike? Do you ride a car?
Yeah.
Are you a man? Are you a woman? You know, do you like these kind of shoes, those kind of shoes? And then you can start building in those sequences of emails.
Yeah, very simple.
And landing pages.
Huh. So it's very simple to do if you know where to look at the right place. So a lot of times, if you ask people questions,
खाना है.
Sorry?
खाना है जो आपने कहा कि खाना है.
नहीं मैं कह रहा हूँ कि a lot of times होता ये है कि if you ask people, then they will not tell you the right things, but their actions will tell you more. Right? So people lie, but their actions don't. So this is a generic automation sequence. It's very generic, but if you have a marketing tool in place, you could go to the extent of saying as email deliver हुई है नहीं हुई, email open हुई है नहीं हुई, right? You can do those sort of breakdowns as well. This is an abandoned flow chart. It's a basic draft for an abandoned flow cycle. Add to cart, wait for checkout for 10 minutes, check reachability on web push, yes, send push. If purchase, checkout starts, then end the journey. Otherwise, check email. It's a very interesting cycle. It's a very small cycle, made very concise. Some of my clients have more than 50 blocks in this, but this is essentially what we do. And an abandoned cart is the most interesting use cases for most e-commerce companies, right? So the idea is to turn this into this. And that is essentially the entire cycle of it all. And now we're looking to look at the fundamental differences between B2B and B2C. Sorry?
Right, yeah, because there's differences.
So
the funnel is different.
The funnel is different. So what we're going to, so B2B के अंदर क्या होता है? What is a B2B? Slack is a B2B. Your Mandrill is a B2B. Your MailChimp even is a B2B. HubSpot is a B2B, right? So first of all, most B2Bs work on freemium models. So you have a sign up, use the product for X number of days. And so first of all, based on what products, what pages on your website are they browsing, you might want to send them a different pop-up to sign up.
Right.
Then if they've signed up, then make sure they log in and use the product. Because if they don't use the product, then how will you validate the need to sell, right? It's important to collect as much information about these businesses as possible. The trial has to create a compelling case for upgrade. So it's important to monitor what they're doing in that trial period. And if they've trialed, has expired, but they've not subscribed, then what do you send them? If they've subscribed, but they've subscribed to a lower tier, then what do they do? How do you ensure they make their payments on time? How do you push them to a higher subscription tier? So let's say you have a product that has X number of features for free, Y features for, let's say, 1,000 rupees a month, and Z features for 10,000 rupees a month. So everyone who's signing up for free, you want to push them to subscribe, even if it's 1,000. But for everyone who subscribed to the 1,000 ka tier, you want to push them to the 10,000 ka tier. Why? Because you want to try and find what problem you can solve for them. You have to build the compelling case for them to upgrade. It's very different compared to buying clothes on a fashion website, right? It's a very big business decision. So that compelling argument needs to be made. And that is it. The big question, how to do this? So there's a bunch of tools that do this, right? Here are some tools, some great tools out there. Some of them work across multiple platforms, some don't work across multiple platforms. Feel free to take a screenshot of this. Disclaimer, I work aggressively with WebEngage. ActiveCampaign की pricing Pakistan में बहुत ज़्यादा है. and we're actually
So
trying.
these are email marketing tools?
No. These are cross-platform marketing tools. So Metrolo, Mailchimp, Sendinblue, Intercom, Entreport. So these do mostly email, but Sendinblue and Mailchimp also do SMS. Intercom also does push notifications. ActiveCampaign does everything, right? WebEngage does everything. Mixpanel does not do push notifications. You have to plug in a push notification tool. Kareem uses Braze. Adobe and Oracle Marketing Cloud are two different products, right? They're very expensive. Eloqua also quite expensive. So depending on the size of your business, the bill for this will come anywhere between $20 a month to maybe $2,000 a month, right? Depending on who you are, what size you are, what features you want. But the point is, if you
And the
know
size
what
of your
you
email lists.
no,
Customer
actually
base.
that's the thing. Mailchimp will bill you based on the number of, not just the unique number of emails, but the number of emails. So let's say Numair is in 3 email lists for some reason, then Numair will be counted thrice. That's Mailchimp's billing model. Metrolo will send you based on total contacts. That's it. Sendinblue will bill you based on volumes. So it doesn't matter if you're 2,000 people in list. If you're sending 50 emails, then 50 emails is what you pay for, right? ActiveCampaign does it based on the number of contacts stored in the system, number of registered users. So if you have 50,000 registered users but only 10,000 are active, you're paying for 40,000 extra. WebEngage charges you based only on active users on a monthly basis. Mixpanel also does monthly plus volume of communication. दोनों करता है वो. And also the number of your attributes you store against them. Pardo is Salesforce. So Salesforce is an endless pit, right? So you can keep adding products onto it और उसकी price बढ़ती जाएगी. Braze, Eloqua, Adobe, Oracle, इनकी pricing is completely non-transparent. There's basically आप उनकी website पे जाएंगे आपको कोई pricing नहीं मिलेगी. आपकी शक्ल देखेंगे और आपको बोलेंगे यार तू डिफेंस का बर्गर बच्चा लगता है, तू इतने पैसे दे, basically. But that's how they are. Everyone requires different degrees of integration. Explore tools with their available channels. That's more important, because अगर आप channels cover नहीं करेंगे तो आपके your business needs will dictate the channels you want. But here's another thing. Don't go for something that's an overkill. अगर आपने गाड़ी चलाने सीखनी है तो FX पे चलाना सीख सकते हैं. सीखने के लिए आपको Ferrari नहीं चाहिए. And I see this very often, cell phones take great pictures, but people want to buy a very expensive DSLR. भाई concepts का cover करने ना वो cell phone से ही पूरे हो जाएंगे. Point and shoot से ही पुराने हो जाएंगे जो 10 साल पुराना है. Your concepts are important. Cover your concepts, उसके बाद कुछ भी ले लो. But there's no point buying an expensive tool, paying $2,000 or $1,000 for it, but then not knowing how to use it. एक tool लें, छोटा लें, basic लें, learn how to use it, and then graduate upwards. That's more important. This is me. Thank you so much. I think we wrapped up fairly in time. But yeah, I'm open for questions. I'm open for questions. So, हुकुम, anyone? मैं सवाल खोलूं या आप पढ़ेंगे?
मैं आपको पढ़ के सुनाता हूँ. अच्छा जी, एक हमारे पास क्वेश्चन आया हुआ है अरसलान खालिद से. So retention done right relies on data collection done right. What are some of the best data collection practices to measure the KPIs?
Very interesting question. So the first thing you need to do is understand what your data points are. If you don't know your data points that are crucial for your business, then you will not be able to collect those data points. As far as practices go, very interesting. एक बहुत अच्छी practice जो होनी चाहिए, sanitization of data, consistency of data is very important. And let me give you an example. There's this brand that we were consulting for, and we found out that उनकी search results के अंदर cases remove नहीं हुए थे. So a red shirt with a capital R and a capital S would show differently from a red shirt with small r, small s. Right? Intrinsically, both searches are the same. Then why should they be seen differently? The second thing is consistency and clarity of information. And when I say that, I mean very simple. हम में से कितने लोग ई कॉमर्स कंपनीज यूज करते हैं, बट उनकी जो आप ऑर्डर टेकिंग फॉर्म देखते हैं ना, तो उसके एड्रेस की फील्ड के अंदर शहर का नाम आपको टाइप करना पड़ता है. There I've come across at least 20 spellings of Karachi. ठीक है. This I'm pretty sure इस्लामाबाद का नाम और लंबा है और गलतियां होंगी. अच्छा, फिर उसमें केसेस का प्रॉब्लम भी आ जाता है. So if you're going to segregate a cohort of Islamabad customers versus Karachi customers, you have 20 blocks to look at. Which one are you going to work with? Identify these challenges early on. Look for places where there might be duplication of data and resolve them. Another simple place to look at is your phone numbers. I've seen major e-commerce players having what you call their field validation turned off. तो अगर आप फोन नंबर की फील्ड में 0 की जगह O डाले तो चल जाता है. And what that means is because जब वो कस्टमर का डेटा आपके सिस्टम पे गिर गया और the moment you try to send them an SMS वो फेल होता है. There are also tools out there which can actually help you validate an email address on the fly. So दो तरीके होते हैं. One, you can either ask a customer to enter the email address twice to make sure there are no mistakes. But then फिर आपको पीछे logic build करनी पड़ती to figure out which one may be right, which one may be wrong. The second is you just get an API access from a company that does this email validation on the fly. So the moment someone enters the email addresses, it hits that API does some sort of a query and comes back to you with a yes, no response. Hard bounce, soft bounce, or no bounce, right? No bounce का मतलब it's a good email address. Hard bounce का मतलब it's a bad email address. Soft bounce का मतलब could be server related issue, right? But in each case, you can come back to them and give a response right there on the screen, tell them to fix something. And that in itself is a method of correcting the data on the fly. Does that help? And the second part is also consistency. So a lot of websites and apps integrate these marketing products and these marketing tools and codes on the website directly. I am not in favor of that personally. I feel that these tools should be integrated via something like Google Tag Manager for one reason. It will help you control the quality of information because the variable जो आप build करेंगे उस पे data pass करने के लिए आप वहीं पे filters और tweaks लगा लेंगे. So if you do that within the management system, so you collect, let's say I have variables which are set out to load at a certain page, right? अब वो variable data collect कर लिया. अब उस वेरिएबल ए में से डेटा मैंने गूगल को देना है, फेसबुक को देना है, इंस्टाग्राम को देना है, वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन में कर लूंगा. बट इफ आई ट्राई एंड क्रिएट प्लग इन ऑल ऑफ दोस simultaneously main on my website, then I need to custom and tweak everything on the fly and have the server do this calculation. Why should I have the server do this calculation? Why do I want to create an overhead? And then you have to create multiple calculations for multiple vendors into which you want to pass data. So it's ideal to use a tag management tool like Google Tag Manager to do these things. No matter you're frozen. Hello. Haji, next question.
Wow, yeah, and you know you want to make sure you keep your email list clean because then you don't want to get marked as spam.
Exactly. Make sure you have your DKIM, make sure you have your SPF setups, make sure you have your DMARC setup, make sure you've warmed up your IP. These are all processes. Next question, sir.
Wow. So another question here is in the context of social media marketing for fashion businesses, what could be the strategy to retain customers and how to engage customers as fashion is always changing?
So when you say social media marketing, are you talking about posts and content, or are you talking about ads? My assumption is you're talking about posts and content, right?
Maybe even FB ads.
So I am not the right person to speak to on that. I do not work in advertising, and I really don't know how to run. I mean, I can run a very basic Facebook campaign, but really this is not a space that I operate in. It's also one thing you could explore, of course, is to try and personalize content and personalize ads based on the people you see. So if you want to run a campaign, targeted campaign for certain email addresses or phone numbers because they've dropped off your retention list, right? So you can upload a list to Facebook saying, listen, run a campaign to these guys specifically. So you can probably create the campaign creatives based on what they've purchased in the past or similar stuff that they've used in the past. I mean, मैं एक टाइप का जोड़ा है, मैंने वो यूज किया है, तो नेक्स्ट कैंपेन में उसको सिमिलर टाइप का जोड़ा which may be relevant to that audience. But then it's also important to keep weather in mind. It's important to keep location in mind. It's important to keep occasion in mind. So रमजान में आप अलग अलग कपड़े बेचेंगे, ईद पे अलग कपड़े बेचेंगे, शादी की सीजन में अलग कपड़े बेचेंगे, समर में अलग बेचेंगे. So this is what we do for brands in Pakistan, right? We actually tell them कि इस्लामाबाद, लाहौर में winter campaign ज़्यादा चलती है, कराची में लॉन्च सीजन जल्दी आ जाता है. And there's no reason why it shouldn't be different on your Facebook ad campaigns.
Right. So understanding your customer.
Because कराची में गर्मी बहुत है, right? तो अगर कराची में मार्च में गर्मी पड़ना शुरू हो गई तो आप मार्च में स्वेटर नहीं बेच सकते या मार्च में लिनन नहीं बेच सकते कराची में. कराची में मार्च में लॉन बिकता है.
बिल्कुल.
Because वेदर का फर्क है. और अगर आप if you're even doing clothing brands, अब हम बात करें, let's say something like Khadi, Kulama, Najib Shahid, one of these others, right? किसी ने boots निकालने हैं, किसी ने shawls निकाली हैं. So it may be relevant to sell a shawl in Islamabad or Rawalpindi in September. कराची में तो हम दिसंबर में शॉल को हाथ नहीं लगाते. A shawl in Karachi is a fashion statement. It's not an accessory. And अब तो वो भी खत्म हो गया है. हम तो दिसंबर में शॉल नहीं यूज करते. So you have to, based on where people are, you have to adjust based on that.
So another question we have here is retention and acquisition are data-driven decisions. What is the importance of a data scientist for a business nowadays?
Yeah, if you know what you need to do, then a scientist is helpful. If you don't know where you want to go, then why do you need a scientist? It's like आप घर में बैठे हैं और आप कह रहे हैं मुझे गाड़ी चाहिए. किस चीज़ के लिए चाहिए? आपकी नीड है? नहीं है. And a lot of these things you don't need data scientists for. Data scientists too, I hate to say this, but they're an overhyped term. I'd use a data scientist if I were to build statistical models and prediction engines. इन चीज़ों में statistical modeling, prediction engines की जरूरत नहीं है. Straight forward calculations है जो आप Excel में कर सकते हैं. And अगर आपने एक बार कर ली, and अगर आप एक fresh grad को पकड़ लिया आपने जिसको जो basic MBA भी ना हो, right? और अगर आपने उसको Excel सिखा दिया है, तो ये calculations तो कोई भी कर लेगा. मतलब a resource of 50K would be able to do these calculations if you want to do them in Excel yourself. Right? आपने code build नहीं करना. These tools and products are out there. Why do you want to reinvent the wheel? What you should have is your data collection strategy and your distribution strategy. उसके लिए data scientist की जरूरत नहीं है.
Well, there you have it, Arsalan. There's your answer. So, Imtiaz,
I'm sorry, एक और बात add करूँगा.
जी, please करें.
You may need a scientist if you are looking for unknown unknowns, right? So, if you have a customer set and you're looking for patterns, you're looking for trends, you're looking for certain behavior that you're trying to map somewhere, right? Then those are unknown unknowns. You don't know what you're looking for. If you have known unknowns, कि आपको पता है कि आपको ये नहीं पता, solving for that is much simpler. You may need some sort of statistical input for that, but how long will you need it is also a question. अगर एक one-off काम है, तो आप एक बार बना के छोड़ दें, right? But if it's always an unknown model, तो एक अलग कहानी है. So let me give you an example. Netflix deploys users. So most e-commerce companies in Pakistan don't need data scientists off the bat. And here's something else. Even the likes of Daraz and Kareem, they have data scientists. They don't need them, but trust me, they're not being used to the fullest. They're being used to look for trends and patterns, which are then thrown into these automation engines. और वो खुद ही सब कैलकुलेशन कर लेते हैं. So those are being used for statistical sampling and coming up with points of inflection. वो inflection points ढूंढने के लिए यूज हो रहे होते हैं. वो कोई स्टैटिस्टिकल यूज केस कंप्लीटली ब्रांड न्यू स्क्रैच से बनाने के लिए यूज नहीं हो रहा होता है। विजुअलाइजेशंस का आपने क्या करना है, मतलब मेरा ये सवाल ही होता है, एंड दिस इज अ वेरी फंडामेंटल एनालिटिक्स क्वेश्चन। A lot of people ask, यार मेरी ये ट्रैफिक कितनी है, मेरा इसका सेल कितना हुआ, मेरा ये कितना हुआ, मेरा वो कितना हुआ। मेरा सवाल एक होता है, मैं आपको जवाब दे दूंगा, आपने करना क्या है। So it is always important to know what you want to achieve and then go to finding the answer versus coming pre-prepared with a certain question in mind and then figuring out what to do with it. This example hai. Example is, I want to increase my conversion rate in shirts, right? How do I do this? Then I will start studying the kind of shirts I have, the kind of audience I show them to, the sorting on the category pages, all of that stuff. But if I say कि मेरी शर्ट की कन्वर्जन रेट क्या है एंड मैंने उस सवाल का कुछ भी नहीं करना, तो फिर क्या करना है? तो that number is irrelevant. The only point of time you may want to ask that question is if you have a benchmark that you want to head towards, but then you should also question why that benchmark is there. Who set that benchmark? And if someone says industry benchmark is 1%, do you have to agree with that 1%? Why can't you always do 1.5%? Right. So question everything. So it's important, fundamentally important, to start with questions. If you don't start with questions, then not only will your data correction strategy be wrong, your analytics implementations will also be wrong. So ask the questions first, go somewhere else later. हमारे यहाँ बहुत लोग कहते हैं जी मैंने वेबसाइट पे ये लगाना है, मैंने वो लगाना है, क्यों मेरे प्रीवियस एम्प्लॉयर पे लगा हुआ था। भाई करना क्या है? You want to go from point A to point B, know your path. Stop asking for a helicopter or a car or a Ferrari or a truck. रास्ता कौन सा है, रास्ता कैसा है, कितनी देर का है, हो सकता है साइकिल में काम चल जाए, हो सकता है पैदल काम चल जाए, right? Think about the problem, think about solving for the problem in detail, and then try to solve the problem. Don't come with answers पहले से.
And have a vision of what you want to do with that. Moving
important,
forward.
Super important, super important. Yeah. The vision can be a moving vision, that's fine, as long as you're moving forward, not backward.
Very insightful, very insightful. There you have it, the audience. You've gotten some very valuable insights. Get your basics right, find where the leaks are in your bucket, build the funnel, right? Have there was that triangle one. We'll be sharing this video on YouTube. You can check it out later as well. Model your growth. A lot of these things you can do yourself with Excel. What is your LTV? What is your CAC? Try to have a welcome email. Use names. You know, personalization is not very hard to do.
Google small tweaks. Very straightforward point है ना. There's just Google for great examples of personalized e-commerce emails. Google कर. There you go. आपको 10 pages मिल जाएंगे जो आपको बहुत अच्छे examples देंगे. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. People have done it. People have kicked it with it. People have rocked it with it. Just replicate it.
And like you said, it's removing the pain. Remove the pain for your customer. Make it as easy as possible.
And remove the pain for yourself as well. You know, if 20 other e-commerce companies have done something, and they're big e-commerce companies, तो कुछ सोचे क्या होगा? और case study बनी है ना, तो कुछ सोच के बनी होगी, right? So just replicate. There's no point reinventing the wheel.
Right. So Imtiaz would love to have maybe another session with you as well, where we could do maybe a deep dive into some of the tools, you know, because a lot of our audience is saying that, you know, yeah, all the basics and the vision and the concept, but the tools are there, they're important too, and you can't do many of these things without putting in that automation.
Yeah.
So that would be really fun to have that session again soon. I hope this was valuable for everyone. Please continue to share your questions. We'll pass them on to Imtiaz. You can find him on LinkedIn. Imtiaz, thank you so much for being with us today. It was a real pleasure. This video is going to be up on YouTube. You can watch it there. You can contact us. We're also open for our cohort 8 induction for incubation. Please visit our website for that. My name is Numair. I'm marketing manager at the NIC. Thank you everyone for being here today. Imtiaz, till the next time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.